preseason continues for Manchester United as we face Bournemouth in the Premier League Summer Series at the Soldier Stadium in Chicago, Illinois, on Wednesday night. Basically, it depends on when you're watching it. If you're in England for the British Standard Time, it is on Thursday morning, early hours of Thursday. So depending on where you're watching it, Eastern Time is 9:30 p.m. and then British Standard Time is I think 2:30 a.m. by the case may be. So for those who are going to be up watching it, it's all up to you. Like, I really appreciate we really love your effort, because obviously for the other people on the other side of the world who watch it, they have to also wake up early sometimes on some days when the preseason games are happening in um in in Europe and all of that. But it is what it is. Yeah. So Manchester United, in this second game of 2025 Premier League series, we're playing against our second team in the series, Bournemouth in Chicago. And it's a fixture that carries weight than just a typical preseason encounter. For Rúben Amorim, it isn't just another tune-up. It is a pressure-led opportunity to demonstrate real tactical progress after a rocky start. In his first season, following a promising 2-1 win over West Ham. In that game, if you can remember what really happened, we enjoyed watching the game, and we learned a lot about the team and how they've been able to work together and build community and build like camaraderie and all of that. So following this promising 2-1 win, United will now face Bournemouth, that actually demolished Everton 3-0 and then 3-0 in their first preseason game, and have started their preseason in blistering form. Now, with Arsenal looming on the opening day of the new league campaign, every minute on the pitch matters. And for confidence, cohesion, and credibility, basically, if you look at what Man United had to offer in the preseason game, Man United, at least Rúben Amorim, played what seemed like his strongest lineup, or strongest starting lineup against his strongest starting lineup that would be against West Ham, where you could get a sense of what it looks like to play that kind of lineup with Bruno and Cunha playing as the 2 10s. So we tend to we should be looking forward to what this game brings for Manchester United and how we intend to approach the game. So obviously, it is very important that we watch a couple of things, build up in the game and all of that. So yeah, Manchester United actually looked very comfortable and sharp, and especially in the first half of that game, especially during the first half, particularly when we're watching new signing Matheus Cunha, pressing, and his creativity actually stood out. Then Bruno Fernandes, kind of all over the place, but all over the place trying to dictate the game, even playing as a 10. It helped soften the noise around Rúben Amorim's turbulent first few months in charge. And even his turbulent, basically because of what happened against Leeds, everybody seemed to now, calm down a little bit and all of that. So the team had mixed results in their postseason Asia tour, obviously. But obviously we've signed basically players that would up the game or lift it up. And then for Bournemouth, on the other hand, they're a flying team, basically. They had a commanding 3-0 victory over Everton and came out on the back of wins against Hibernian and Bristol City. So they're basically one game ahead of us in preseason. And Andoni Iraola's side look hungry and sharp, with the midfield trio of Billing, Rotwell, and Christie dictating games. With a deeper squad and a stronger chemistry, Bournemouth have momentum, and recent history is firmly on their side, because the last time we played them, I think we lost to them. Look at it. So it was, for Man United, it was one to watch. We had chances to win and all of that. But historically, Bournemouth has been a tough side to face in the Premier League particularly. But this will be a good opportunity for Man United to actually exert their authority and send a warning shot to teams like Bournemouth ahead of the new season, right? Then, if we're going to go by head-to-head history, Manchester United's recent record, as I spoke about against Bournemouth, is grim. Last season's 3-0 defeat at Old Trafford marked the second consecutive home loss to the Cherries, part of a 4-game winless streak in this fixture. Under Iraola, Bournemouth have actually developed a confident and aggressive identity, unafraid of pressing United's midfield and exploiting defensive gaps, which is very interesting. And this would be very interesting as to what Man United will line up with. But when Amorim's side are still under construction, obviously, as we all know, we're still building, and will be tested not just by Bournemouth's shape, but also by their self-belief. Something that's grown with each pressing encounter, and this is a fixture that has flipped narratives. United used to dominate, but now they're playing catch up. So it's very important that we, as Man United fans, just kind of look at this and learn from this and build up from the preseason and all of that. But Raiola's system is a high energy, vertical aggression. This is how Bournemouth plays under Iraola. And Bournemouth operates in a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 shape with a key emphasis on second ball recoveries and quick transitions. In the fullback, particularly the new signing, Julian Araujo, provide width and overlapping runs, while the central midfield is designed to outnumber opponents and stifle their build-up play. Now, their press begins high up the pitch, and we've seen this basically in the last game we played against them. The press begins high off the pitch and often force opponents wide before trapping them in possession. That's kind of set position traps and stuff. And also they punished Everton by turning midfield turnovers into goal scoring chances with ruthless precision. And United's ability to bypass the press will actually be key in this tactical battleground. So let's now talk about, so if we're to go by what we expect as to their expected lineup based on the last game they played against Everton, their potential starting lineup will probably be in the shape of let's see. So their potential starting lineup will look and feel like so they'll go in net with Petrovic. Petrovic, the new signing from Chelsea. And then they have James Hill and Marcos Sensei in defense. And then they went with Truffaut at right back, and then Adam Smith Truffaut at left back and Adam Smith at right back. They also used a midfield of Ahmed Traore in their defensive midfield, and then Ben Winterburn and Marcos Tavernier in their 2 10s or central midfield position. And then David Brooks right wing, and Ouattara left wing, and then Ivan Nielsen. There is a chance that obviously they would play Semenyo, but based on the last game, there's a chance that they could play Semenyo, but it is what it is. Then for Man United, how Manchester United play, I mean, more like a tactical approach to Manchester United. Against West Ham, Amorim opted for a 3-4-3 structure in build-up, morphing into a 4-2-3-1 off the ball if the defensive midfielder drops. And then the wing-backs also played a crucial role, both stretching the play and helping with recovery transitions. And it was very key because we saw this when Patrick Dogu and Ahmad were pressing really high. Ahmad not so much in the first, maybe like 20 minutes of first half, but Dogu kept doing it and bombing forward. And speaking of Dogu, which we might probably eventually talk about because we've done a player profile about him, you see it on our channel. But Dogu seems to be that kind of player that has evolved over time and built that momentum. And he seems to have grown a mass. So he looks big and bulked up, but he's still able to, carry himself around and press high and, work hard as part of a team. right? Now, basically, I'm at the same thing. Times when he had chances, even the goal that was counted as offside, which that didn't look like offside. But then another player, which we're going to do a player profile on in this in our channel, basically considering what he did in the game against West Ham, is Kobe Menu. We need to talk about Kobe Menu. We need to actually talk about eventually Kobe Menu. He controlled the tempo of the game while basically Manuel Ugarte was the destroyer, destroying things and all of that. And in the match review, I said we need players that can do stuff like a midfielder that can do stuff like Manuel Ugarte, or even better, destroyer, but still at the same time ball carrier. Manuel Ugarte does a little bit of it, but not as much. But that would be potentially the idea. Now, Cunha's movement was also key in that in between the lines, and he offered dynamisms and unpredictability. While Amorim had experimented with Bruno Fernandes playing deeper before in the past, closer to the build-up zones, allowing the front three to interchange freely. He actually deployed Bruno up top as one of the two tens, and then defensively, United are still not yet compact. I mean, a goal that was conceded, obviously. Um, I've seen a lot of analysis as to people were trying to shift blames on Bruno and all of that, that if he had moved back a little bit and all that. But the manager who was on the ground and on the day, you could hear when Man United were being attacked on. I heard his voice very clearly. He shouted, Mata, and he meant Matheus de Ligt, because Matheus de Ligt was supposed to press high on the player who got the ball that passed it to Jarrod Bowen, the midfield of West Ham. He screamed Mata, but Mata was already short, so Mata dropped back, and in the end, Jarrod Bowen had that run. So if he had pressed the guy who had the ball, he probably have delayed and given Edin Heaven the chance to win the ball back, but he didn't. So that kind of created an opportunity for West Ham to actually press and all of that. So you could hear it. Amorim shouted Mata because obviously he needed Mata to press high, his defender, centre back to press high to be able to kind of hold on, delay the ball ahead so that Edin Heaven gets a chance to. But Mata didn't. But at the end of the day, but Jarrod Bowen scored that goal, and we had we had to now play a certain way to kind of keep the lead as it should be. So we need to be defensively compact. So we're not defensively compact. Transitions remain the Achilles heel, obviously, with what happened with Jarrod Bowen's goal. But the verticality and the pace of Man United's attack is improving practically, particularly when Bruno Fernandes and Cunha are on the pitch together playing as two tens. They've built that solid relationship and all of that. So if I were to go with predicted lineup for Manchester United, we'll say that we have by Altabander in net. Obviously, because Onana is still out injured and he'll be out till August. Then we have Matheus de Ligt. Matheus de Ligt is going to be centre back, same lineup as the last game. Edin Heaven on the left side of centre back. And then we have Lenioro on the right side of centre back. And then we have Kobe Menu. And then Manuel Ugarte in mid, same way we had it before. And then we have Ahmad on the right wing, Dogo on the left wing, Matheus Cunha and Bruno Fernandes as the two tens, and then Rasmus Højlund as the striker, right? Rasmus Højlund starts this one again because obviously, for speaking of Rasmus Højlund, he looked very sharp in that game. He looked very intent on making things happen. It looked like he was making sharper runs and being very determined about how he applied himself. If we're going to go, so key players for Man United in this situation. There are several key players to watch. I've just kind of given you a hint of what we expect, but one of the key players to watch is Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha is one player that we need to watch. We're watching to see how he evolves with the team. He's building relationships. He's had 2 games with the team already, so he's building a relationship and building relationships with the team across the squad and all of that. So he's one player we can watch, one player we can pay attention to and see what we can achieve with him being in our squad. Our player that we would like to watch, obviously, Rúben Amorim has said it time and again that Bryan Mbeumo will probably be featured in this game. But let's see. I don't think he's going to be featured. He's probably not as much ready. but he'll probably play the third game and probably the Everton game. So let's see how that pans out. Another player that we are going to be watching in this one is Kobe Menu. Kobe Menu as well, good player, 20 years of age, played in the 2-1 win against Everton, created an assist from his strategic press because he was the advanced player. So once I think there was one where he lost the ball and then Manuel Ugarte covered and pounced. And then the next thing you had was Ugarte creating an assist for Ahmad, who now scored, but it was counted as offside. But then Menu's strategic press was also key in helping Man United get the chance where he created an assist for Bruno, who scored that superb goal. And then, so these are the things that we look at when we're building up for a game like this. Now, Kobimena and Ugarte, that relationship is already building. And then we definitely need one more midfielder. Same thing for Cunha and Bruno. So if you have Mbumo back in the squad, Bruno now comes back into deep line playmaker role. What's his name? Kobimenu playmaking role. Whatever the case, it gives us opportunity to have depth in midfield and all of that. So yeah, that's pretty much. So one player to watch, obviously, is Kobe Menu. Speaking of Cunha, he had settled quietly into Amorim's system, and his intelligence off the ball, pressing urgency and link up play with all the players shows. Especially when he did it against West Ham, it looks like he is a natural fit. I listened to the commentators and they talked about him gliding easily across the field and all of that. Especially in this vertical United setup, his ability to drag defenders out of shape and create overloads will also be vital against a compact Bournemouth backline. So he can actually do those things that dribble between the backlines and create chances for the other teams. So it is what it is. We're beating Bournemouth before we can do it again. Another player to watch in this one is one player we're going to actually pay attention to in this one is Amad Diallo. And Ahmad is one player that I think that he has something to give for this team. He's playing as right wing back, 23-year-old Ivorian international, tagged the Ivorian Messi. One player that we can actually gain something from playing as a right wing back and also as a 10 because it gives us more depth and all that. So in a team where we need a 10 and we need Bruno to drop, and we have Mbumo, we have Cunha, we have Ahmad, there's a chance that we can have that three, Mbumo, Ahmad, Cunha, as a three combination when it comes to the front three. And then we create chances using Cunha as a striker who drops deep to win balls and drive forward and all of that. So there are many combinations that we can have depending on how Man United, you know, prepared to line up. Another player we can actually look at in this setup that worked really hard, even though people keep saying, "Oh, he's a problem in the squad," and I tend to wonder how. That's Bruno Fernandes. After a relatively quiet back end to last season, Bruno Fernandes is back orchestrating play, with sharp passing and his trademark through balls. His positioning deeper for Amorim structure also helps United control the midfield tempo. But Kobe Meno actually showed that he can actually do it. So the the the, the ability to build from the back and give Kobe Menu the ball, who is more press resistant. We should also expect Bruno Fernandes to be pivotal in breaking Bournemouth's mid block and picking out runners like Cunha and Ahmad and Dogu playing on the other left side and all of that. So it is what it is. We're just going to be patient with that. But for Ahmad, that he's key to this because he's one player I'll be watching and keeping an eye on how he performs as a wing back and also because he defended really well in the wing back position against West Ham. So how he performs as a wing back will also be very key again because everybody's starting to question why is Amorim playing him as a wing back, but it is what it is. We have to keep moving on. Now, the key strategies to win this game, there are so many strategies for Man United to be able to win this game, and they include basically just um, first and foremost, we need for Man United to emerge victorious, we actually must break Bournemouth's press early, like avoid playing into Bournemouth's traps in wide areas. Fernandes and Menu need to offer vertical progression and resist the press with quick switches of play, control transitions as well. Bournemouth thrive on chaos. United must be disciplined in the midfield with Casemiro screening with Ugarte also if he's playing in that starting in the starting lineup, um, effectively screening, and then the wing backs are covering quickly after advancing. So they need to bomb up and down, and we've seen the um, interview by Patrick Dogu talking about being able to balance between defending and attacking. And then also we need to control the transitions, as I said. We need to utilize Cunha's movement as well, playing between the lines and dragging Bournemouth centre backs out of shape. We'll also create space for Ahmad, we create space for Dogu, we create space for Bruno, you know, to thrive, and even for Rasmus Højlund to thrive and become a threat up top to create goals and stuff. Meanwhile, Bournemouth will also try to press aggressively from minute one, targeting players like Menu, players like Ahmad, Dogu, any spaces that have been left behind. They will target those players and try to exploit them. And then they will also try to exploit spaces behind the wing backs, especially on transition. Then also there are set pieces as well. United have struggled defensively a little bit in organization during corners and indirect free kicks. So let's keep an eye on that. And I know that that's what we're going to be watching to see how much United defend those situations. Now, in conclusion, in all of this, basically, in as much as I love to watch Man United, I would love to see how Man United perform. This will not actually be a straightforward test for Rúben Amorim because Bournemouth are sharp, tactically drilled and confident. They've played one more game more than United. Everything in United as in everything United are still striving to be like with the way Bournemouth are drilled and sharp and tactically confident and all of that. United is striving to be that confident and consistently putting out performances and all of that. However, Fernandes pulling the string, Cunha clicking into gear, and United having the firepower um, gives us an edge in this battle. Now, much will also depend on how United manage the press and whether Amorim's tactical ideas continue to gain traction among the squad. Now, if the midfield holds firm and the white players make better decisions in the final third, United should be able to just enough claim another win. So, what would be my predicted scoreline for this? My predicted scoreline in this fixture will probably be a comfortable 2-0 win, or one goal in each half. Even though I know that there's going to be some, I think most of the players are going to play about 75 minutes. Those that start the game will play about 75 minutes, and then the subs will come in and play about 25 minutes, and then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I predicted 2-0 we would have scored the 2 goals first half and second half. Bournemouth will press, they'll press us at different times, but when they enter into their low block, because obviously this is preseason, everybody can freestyle, so people will take risks and all of that. So let's see how that goes. I predicted 2-0 win for Man United. What's your own prediction? What's your predicted scoreline? What's your predicted lineup and all that? Let me know in the comment section, and let us look forward to watching this game and learning a lot about our team and about how we apply ourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We've achieved our milestone, and we are going into another milestone. So thank you so much for making this possible, for building a community with us. We're going to continue this and continue to build momentum as we grow and evolve as a community. So thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.